Now that Logitech, the company that owns Astro, has finally announced the A50 X, I figured this would be a perfect time to talk about the Astro A50 Gen 4 because this is the device that the A50 X is going to be replacing. And I actually really like this headset. One of the main issues that I actually had with it was that it simply cost too much money, but it's going to be going on a lot of discounts now that the A50 X has been announced. I also pre-ordered that headset, so I will be comparing that directly to this once I get it, so stick around for that. I'll be talking about the good, the bad, and the things that they have changed in the A50 X in comparison to the A50 Gen 4. So first, the good. This is a wireless only gaming headset. And the way that it connects is through this, the base station. There are a lot of different ports on the back. It can toggle between PC and PlayStation. There is an Xbox version of this, but I don't have that. So this is compatible with PC, PS4, and PS5. It uses a micro USB input. Type A sides on the other end. You'd plug that into your console or your PC. So all the audio is actually being routed through the base station to the headset itself, and you can put the headset on here just to charge it, and it'll connect with these little connectors that you see on the bottom, and that's how it charges. This won't work if it's plugged into a wall or something like that. It's got to be plugged directly into a PC, PS4, PS5. Now, some people have had issues with the wireless connection, but for me, over the 2 years that I've used this, haven't had issues myself. The battery life only lasts from between maybe like 9 to 11 hours. I think they say it's like 15 or something like that, but it really doesn't last that long. The thing is, it doesn't really matter because if you just put this on your desk or wherever you're going to have it, as soon as you take it off, you just put it on the base station anyway. So the battery life is kind of irrelevant because you can't really take this on the go anywhere because it does not have Bluetooth. Now, another good thing, the controls are really convenient on this. On and off switch here. Dolby audio button, which is a virtual surround sound effect. It's fun to use, but it doesn't help with competitive games. It just adds echo where there really shouldn't be. So pinpointing gunshots is actually really, really bad when you're using this thing. Footsteps as well, so I always keep it off. There are different EQ presets that are built into the device itself, and when you're pressing this button, it will actually even show on the base station that it's going to the different EQ presets. So I made my own, and I'll talk a little bit about those in the headphone audio quality comments I'll talk about in a little bit. And these lights right here are showing the battery if it's charging and stuff like that. Another great thing is this volume button right here is for the headset itself. It's not the system volume. So this is really quick. You don't have to wait for like Windows to actually like raise the volume or lower the volume. Another great addition is this flip to mute microphone. Now it's not detachable. I do find this to be very comfortable. It's got some swivel, and the way that it opens up actually does make this viable to rest around your neck. It's one of the very few headsets that I can actually do that with. Most of them, they clamp in. They're really uncomfortable. They did a great job with the A50. This is a little bit hefty, and it does make a little bit of that creaky sound. I don't like that with the plastic on it. But these cloth pads, super comfortable. You can actually replace these with the mod kit pads if you want, but you can't replace the speaker tags like you can with the A40. Not to this day, I'm not sure if this is hard plastic or some sort of alloy, but overall this is quite comfortable. But the long-term build quality is something that I will talk about in the negative section. Now, speaking into the microphone of the Astro A50 right now, I'll talk about the microphone audio quality in a little bit, but in the software you can change these different presets, and these are some of the ones that I just have right here. They're not like super advanced or anything like that, and this is some of the ones that are basic that like come with Astro's headsets, so stuff that they programmed in there. And the changes that you make, you can sync to the device itself, and then you can change individual settings. So the command center software is pretty cool. It is something that they did change, so I'll talk about that at the end. Now, my favorite part about this headset by far is the headphone audio quality. It is one of the very few gaming headsets on the market that actually has decent bass. It has a very natural tone out the box, and it's going to come off as kind of dark, kind of warm and rich, and seemingly bass heavy in comparison to most of the other gaming headsets, because those are really kind of tinny and shrill up in the treble and the upper mid range. That's just the type of sound that a lot of these companies have been going for these days. A good analogy I can give is if you listen to the Blue Yeti for a while and then listen to the SM7B right after, this is closer to like the SM7B where it's got that proximity effect. It's a lot warmer, a lot richer. And then you go back to the Yeti and it sounds airy and distant and really thin in comparison. Anyway, this is amazing for immersive games. The detail is good. It's not amazing, but the bass makes it amazing for music and immersive games. This has 40mm drivers. They're dynamic drivers, so this does push out a decent amount of force. It's not like planar magnetic drivers. It's not like graphene drivers. The bass actually does have some impact with these, and it is a very trapped in type of sound. So if you're looking for the widest soundstage possible, this isn't the device to get. Now, when it comes to competitive play, not gonna lie, I did have to alter the EQ, drop the bass a little bit, raise the upper mids. I don't have like an exact preset here because I haven't been using these quite as much as some of my other gaming headsets, just because I rotate between so many of them so often. But dipping the bass, raising the upper mids really helped footsteps stand out a whole lot more in this headset. But at the same time, gunshots and armor breaking wasn't like completely sheer and blasting my eardrums. And if you're not playing anything competitive, then you might as well try that Dolby audio because it's actually really fun to listen to. It's not gonna help you in competitive gaming because it just kind of adds echo to your sound, but it can make this headset sound a little bit more airy, and then you change the EQ with that, and then it really balances out the sound to be really fun. So there are a lot of things I really love about the Astro A50 Gen 4, but now I've got to talk about the bad. The number one thing, honestly, is the price. I bought this for $300, and a lot of times you'll see this on sale for like $270, $250, and I'm like, that's not a sale. This thing is not worth that much money. The headphone audio quality is good, but it's not worth that much money, no way. And even if you're talking about, oh, well, the features and stuff like that, well, it doesn't even have Bluetooth. That's an issue. And it only connects wirelessly using this really big, bulky base station. It doesn't have just like a USB dongle that you can throw in there. It's kind of obnoxious to keep around. But the next issue is actually the game to voice mixer. Now, this actually works flawlessly on PC, and then you can make your teammates louder, or even different programs on your PC, if you set them to voice, make those louder, and then make the game itself louder or quieter depending on which one you want. And it's really good. I've used it with my friend before, and this used to work flawlessly on PlayStation, but Sony removed the functionality for all gaming headsets that are not Sony specific, like the InZone and stuff like that. None of them can control the game chat mix. Like even the Astro A40, the mix amp, it can't do that anymore. So the workaround that you have to do on PS4 is you're gonna have to use an optical cable and also connect USB at the same time, and then you'll have to like go in the settings for the PlayStation to like set up some of the audio to come out one way, some of the audio to come out the other. It's a lot of different steps, and if your PlayStation doesn't have an optical port, like you have a PS4 Slim, then you have to put it in your TV, and if your TV doesn't have an optical port, then you're gonna have to get an HDMI adapter, and it's like it's a lot of steps, and it's such a hassle. Honestly, I don't even know how it works on Xbox. I have a Series S, so I'm gonna figure out how it works with the new Astro A50 X, but you can get it to work. Just do a little bit of research before you go out and get this to understand exactly how to get the game chat mixer to work on PS4 and PS5. Now, another issue I have with this headset is the long-term durability. You can see this paint chipping already. Well, it has been a while, honestly, at this point, but it was chipping maybe like 3 months into having this. And honestly, it actually looks pretty bad in pictures. I was actually trying to sell this, but one of the people that wanted it, they were like, oh, well, the paint's chipping. What did you do? Drop it? Did you rage or something like that? And I was like, no, I actually didn't do anything with it. And the paint chips off, even if you're not doing anything. It holds together with no problem. It just doesn't feel premium, especially for $300. Come on now. Now, the microphone audio quality of this is not very good either. I'm just going to do a little bit of keyboard typing. It does naturally reject some background noise. Now, in the Astro A50, well, the Astro Command Center software, you can alter some of the microphone settings. Not really any EQ or anything like that. You can turn the side tone on, which is actually pretty loud. I actually do like this. And this up here is the noise gate. So you can set it to some of these different presets, and then you can hear the differences. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of typing as I go into these other ones. This is the night, and these different ones, basically they will just reduce the amount of background noise that is picking up, and unfortunately these will start cutting out your voice as well, just because they're pretty intense and there's not like a slider to change them. So overall, I am a big fan of the A50 and the base station. Let me talk really quickly about the changes, because I've made a different video kind of previewing the A50 X, and I will be talking about that in a separate video, reviewing it in its entirety. The price of the A50 X, even steeper, $380 at launch. That's what I pre-ordered it for. When I pre-ordered it, it actually came with these earbuds, which are absolutely terrible. This is going to be a really fun review. So even if you're not interested in these, stick around for this review, because this review is going to be really fun. But anyway, the A50X, it's not using that optical port anymore. It's doing HDMI pass-through. You can have multiple consoles going straight through it. So the Xbox, the PlayStation, your PC, and you can swap between each of them. And because it's using that HDMI pass-through, it's able to do the game chat mix with both the USB connection and the HDMI. So that should eliminate a big issue of the connectivity with the A50 Gen 4. Another thing they're changing is they're going from the 40mm dynamic drivers to the 40mm graphene drivers. Now, the Logitech G Pro X2, I actually like these. They sound very natural, and if you EQ them right, you can actually get a really good sound. You can get that detail, and you can get a little bit of that bass also. It doesn't push out a lot of power though, but the thing is, this has 50mm drivers, so I'm not sure for $380 40 millimeter graphene drivers. Is that enough? Is the sound even really gonna be worth getting? It wasn't a big selling point for them. They're mostly talking about the connectivity and stuff like that, which is cool, but for $380, it better sound amazing. But anyway, let me give my verdict on the Astro A50 Gen 4 after using this for over 2 years. I recommend this headset under 2 conditions specifically, otherwise you can skip this. Number 1, the most important thing is if you see this at a discount. I honestly probably wouldn't pay more than like $150, $160, especially considering that the A50 X has been announced. Maybe $200 tops if you're about that life. But it's missing a lot of features like that Bluetooth. The game chat mixer has a lot of issues trying to actually get that set up. It's PlayStation's fault, to be honest. The headphone audio quality is good, it has good bass, but there's a little bit of like the static type of hiss when you turn the volume really high. So that's the first thing. Only really buy this if you see this on a steep discount. The second thing is bass. If you really like bass, because most gaming headsets, they just don't cater to people like me. It's just how they are. They cater to a lot of FPS players, and I play FPS games too. Like, you know, you've seen, I was playing Call of Duty. I play Warzone quite a bit, especially lately. Now, that's not all I do. I play fighting games also. I listen to music. I watch movies. I play other immersive games. I don't only play FPS games. So if you're going to be using your headsets for anything else and you actually like strong, booming, powerful bass, this is like the closest gaming headset that I've heard that can actually get you some semblance of decent bass besides the PC38X. Other headsets, they kind of can try, but this and the PC38X are just on a different level when it comes to bass. So that's my verdict. Get this if you see it on a steep discount and you really like bass, and consider subscribing to the channel because I will be comparing this to the Astro A50 X. Whenever my pre-order actually gets here, I'll test it for a few days, then make my review.